Mukunda Vivanam Ahoradika Madhvasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tam Anatosmi Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Prema Buddhivyastavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Sham Sundar Shakanda Shikhar Smaraha Sumurali Manohara Radhika Rasakamama Kripanidhi Supriyacharna Kinkarim Kuru Tavevasmi Najivami Tvayabhina Iti Vikyaya Devi Tam Namam Charantikam. First of all, I offer my sastang dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands and thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadiya Paramaradhatama Guru Pada Padma, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Ashtotara Sata Sri Rupanuga Acharya Varya, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada and all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Here we are. We find ourselves in a world that appears to be hostile. We experience from all directions many challenges, many difficulties to contend with, and many dangers. This is the experience of material existence. So in order to protect ourselves, in order to try to get some security, then we try to get some power, some wealth, money, physical strength, influence, all of these things. But even the most powerful, the most wealthy, the strongest and healthiest persons, they were all crushed like ants by the wheel of time. So worldly material capabilities, they cannot protect us. They cannot save the soul from a suffering condition. Another type of strength is necessary. That is called Chidbal, spiritual strength. By spiritual strength, we can overcome ignorance and overcome the darkness of the Ahankara, false ego. Just as the sun becomes eclipsed, goes dark at the time of an eclipse. So in the same way, our soul is like a spiritual sun. Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, just as the sun is situated in one place in the sky, but present everywhere by his rays. So in the same way, the soul is a particle of spiritual energy, present in the heart, situated in the heart, localized, but its influence, consciousness is spread throughout the body. But that soul has now become eclipsed by Maya, by the material energy, especially by Ahankara, the false ego. And due to the Ahankara, false ego identification with the body, so the soul who is spiritual, who cannot die, who is beyond birth and death, He considers himself to be undergoing all the tribulations of material existence. So the strength that is required is the spiritual strength to overcome the eclipse of Ahankara, the material ego. This strength is not with the soul. It is not a power that the soul himself has. Only the Chidbal, spiritual strength, can dispel the darkness of material ignorance. And this Chidbal, spiritual strength, it comes when we connected with Sri Krishna by taking shelter of Sadhguru. The representative of Sri Krishna, when we take shelter, when we hear and we serve according to the instructions of the spiritual master, then that Chidbal, spiritual strength, comes to us and we can dispel. The Chidbal comes actually to engage in sadhana, hearing, chanting and remembering Sri Krishna. And then Bhakti appears and dispels the darkness of material ignorance. So I want to tell one very beautiful history of a king who thought he was very smart and powerful due to ignorance. The king's name was? No. Vishvamitra. Vishvamitra Maharaj. He had the hundreds and thousands of soldiers. He had the armies of elephants and chariots and infantry. And he was ruling the whole world. So one day he decided he wanted to do a tour of his kingdom. So he set off with an entourage of thousands of soldiers and elephants and chariots and infantry. And he was wandering here and there from country to country, visiting all the main cities. After some time, Vishvamitra Maharaj, he wanted to go into the forests where the sages reside, where the rishis who are absorbed in austerities, tapasya, and meditation and devotion, and have their darshan. So gradually he went to a very beautiful forest area and he saw, oh, what kind of place is this? Very peaceful. Beautiful trees and flowers are growing everywhere. Birds are singing. Bumblebees are humming. And the sages are living here in the forest, a very simple life. Uncomplicated life. He saw so many rishis there. They were effulgent, they were shining from their austerity and deep meditation. Some of them were breatharians. They were not even eating. They were only surviving on pran. Some of them were surviving only on water. And some were just taking some roots and fruits from the forest. So the place was so pure because of their spiritual activities. And the king, Vishvamitra Rishi, Vishvamitra Maharaj at that time, he thought, oh, this is not even like earth. Because of the presence of all these spiritual personalities, it feels like I have gone to Brahmalok, the highest planet in the universe. So then he saw the leader of all the rishis. His name was Vashishta Rishi. So Vashishta Rishi, when he saw the king, he came and he said, oh, your majesty, welcome. Your presence in our ashram is most welcome. And the king, Vishvamitra Maharaj, he bowed down to that sage. He gave pranam to the sage. So then the sage invited him, please take a seat, and gave him some fruits and roots, whatever food was available there in the forest. And the king, he ate the fruits and roots, and he felt, oh, today I'm so fortunate because I am having the association of these great sages. So then, Vashishta Rishi, he looked around and saw that the king, he had not come alone, but he had so many men with him. so many soldiers, cavalry. And he said, "Oh, Vishvamitra Maharaj, please don't leave. Just stay. I don't feel satisfied that I've given you only fruits and roots, but rather I want to have a great feast for you and for all of your men, all of your associates, your entourage." So then Vishvamitra Maharaj was thinking, I am a Kshatriya, I'm a warrior, and he is a Brahmin. He's from the priestly class. I should not beg anything from him or accept anything from him. We should be giving in charity to the Brahmanas, not that we should be taking from the Brahmanas. And also, I have so many men. I have so many men with me. It will be extremely difficult for him to cater for everyone. So Vishvamitra Maharaj, he refused. He said, no, I'm completely satisfied. Just by seeing you, I feel as if my day is perfect. My whole life is perfect. You know, Srila Narottam Das Thakur said, Gangara parasa hoile pasyate pavana darshane pavitra karo eto marago. It means that if a person will live on the bank of a holy river like the Ganga and take bath there again and again, slowly they become purified. But if a person sees a pure devotee, a pure Vaishnava, then at once by seeing him, he becomes purified. It's so powerful. Yat pada sangsaya sutta munaya prasamayana sadyopanantu pasprastya swadun apunu sevaya. Sri Shaunika Rishi glorified Sutta Goswami in Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, oh, a great personality like you is a holy place personified. What to speak of the serving you, even seeing you, one becomes immediately purified. No, even remembering. How powerful is the association of a saint? Even by remembering them, we become purified. Eichai gosai kori charna bandhan, jahoite bignanash abhishta puran. Srila Narottam Das Thakur said, by offering prayers to the great Vaishnavas, the 6 Goswamis, all obstacles in spiritual life become destroyed and one's spiritual desires are fulfilled. So when Vashishta Muni told the king, oh, Your Majesty, you stay here. I want to give a great feast to all of you, a sumptuous feast to all of your entourage. He said, no, we are satisfied just by seeing you. It's enough. So please let me go. But that Rishi Vashishta, he insisted. He said, no, you please stay. If you'll stay and I can provide you with a feast, I'll be most happy. And again, Vishvamitra Maharaj was saying, no, it's enough. But then he realized, actually, I want to please this sage. If I please this sage, my life will be successful. And so I know he'll be pleased if I accept his invitation. So finally, he relented. He said, all right, we'll stay and we'll honor lunch here. So then Vashishta Rishi was overjoyed. And he called his cow, his favorite cow, oh, Sabla, come on. And one beautiful cow came over from his Goshala. He said, Sabla, we have guests today, so I want you to provide them with a sumptuous feast. And then at once, that Sabla, that cow, she said, moo. And from her body, so many thousands and thousands of preparations appeared. Why? Because she was a famed heavenly Kamadhenu. That means a desire-fulfilling cow. A cow, if you pray to that cow, whatever you want, she will manifest by her mystic powers. So there and then, just from the body of Sabala, manifested huge mountains of hot steaming rice with ghee dribbling down the sides. There was so many vegetable preparations and halwa and pakoras and samosas. So many cakes and sweets and yogurt and cream and sweet rice. Many preparations, delicious drinks, so many varieties of juices and nectar drinks. There was enough for everyone. And so all the king and all of his soldiers, they honored a huge feast and they were completely satisfied. So then, after eating, that king, Vishvamitra Maharaj, he thought, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And he was so attracted by this cow, Shabala, that he couldn't resist it. And he came to Vashishta Rishi, he said, I am amazed by this cow, Shabala. So, you know that it's a tradition in a country, whatever the people have, the best of what they have, they're supposed to offer it to the king. So I am suggesting to you that you offer to me this cow Sabala, and in return, I'll give you 100,000 cows. Vashishta Rishi said, excuse me, your majesty, but I will not part with my Sabala, even for 10 million cows. Even if you give me a mountain of gold, I will not part from my cow Shabala. She is very dear to me. Why? Because I live here in the forest and I am performing austerities and I perform yajna, sacrifices for the benefit of the whole world. Where there are sages, where there are saints performing their devotional activities, then this actually benefits the whole world. The world is in such a situation. Everyone is so sinful, performing so many sinful activities that their karma is about to explode at any moment. And huge disasters and wars and famine, starvation and pestilence take place. Why? Because of the karma of the people. But this can be only neutralized when there are brahmanas, where there are sages performing yajna, sacrifices. So Vashishta Rishi, he said, I need for my sacrifices milk and ghee and whatever I need for the sacrifices. My cow, Shabala, she provides those things and she's very dear to me. So I will not accept. So the truth of the matter is that Vashishta Rishi, being free from all ignorance, he has no worldly desires. Worldly desires are the product of a contaminated, uncontrolled mind. Prajati yada kaman sarvan pata manogatan atmane natmada tustas stita pragyas taduchate. Arjun has asked Shri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, can you tell me what are the characteristics of a person who is in samadhi, who is in trance, whose mind is absorbed in the absolute truth? Sri Krishna said, oh, well, the first symptom is dukeshva vignamana, dukeshu vigadaspriha. When difficulties come, when problems come, the first symptom is they're never disturbed. And if they become successful in any endeavor, they don't celebrate. They're not affected by the dualities. They don't have mood swings of emotions from feeling euphoric and then being depressed. These are the symptoms of a person with an unsteady mind, not the symptoms of a person with a perfectly controlled mind in samadhi, in trance. So an enlightened person, they are not swayed by the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha, they don't have anger, they don't feel fear, they don't feel attachment. So Krishna said, prajati yada kama, and they have given up all worldly desires. They have no lust, they have no worldly ambitions. Not that they don't have ambitions, they have spiritual ambitions. The spiritual ambition to try to give the maximum happiness to Sri Krishna that they possibly can. That's the true nature of the Atma, the soul. So prajayati yada kaman sarvam patamanogatan. They have given up all worldly desires. And those who are in ignorance, they identify with the mind. And in the mind, there are millions of impressions, samskars, from countless previous lives. And as we are going through our life, these impressions are triggered and they appear from the subconscious mind into our conscious mind. And we think, oh, now I want to become a lawyer or a footballer or whatever it is. Whatever ideas we have, worldly ambitions we have, is actually not our free will, but rather it's an echo of past experiences coming into the mind. And out of ignorance, we identify with that, and then we're carried along by it. So Sri Krishna, he said, Atmanev Atmana Tushtash. The person who is enlightened, they're Atmaram, they're satisfied in themselves. They feel the joy of the soul. But still we can say that person who is completely satisfied and feels the joy of the soul, he can also have some attachment. What is that? Spiritual attachment. He has attachment to his guru and to pure Vaishnavas, to those who are connected with Krishna. He feels gratitude also for those who have assisted him in service. So because Vishishta Rishi felt such gratitude because his cow Sabala had served him in all of his spiritual activities for many years, he was unwilling to let her go. So he said, no, under no circumstances will I let my cow Sabala go. She's as dear to me as my own soul. I am very grateful for all of her services. So then the king said, you know that I am a Kshatriya. And we Kshatriyas, we rely on our strength. So if you'll not hand over this cow to me, then by force I'll take her. And at once, with his strong arms, Vishvamitra Maharaj, he grabbed the cow Shabala and began to drag her away, and he was surrounded by all of his soldiers. As he was dragging away the cow, then the cow was looking back with tears in her eyes. She's a Kamadhenu, not like an ordinary cow here in New Zealand. So she can speak Sanskrit. So the Kamadhenu looked back and said, oh my master, oh Vishishta Rishi, are you abandoning me? Are you giving me up? What is my fault? Did I make some offense that now I have to go and you're just letting me go and not doing anything? Vishishta Rishi said, oh Shabala, you have not made any offense. And in my heart, I am not abandoning you. But just as this Vishvamitra Maharaj is a Kshatriya, and it's his characteristic quality to use physical force to achieve his aims. So in the same way, I am a Brahmin. And as a Brahmin, it is my duty always to tolerate. So even though this is a very difficult situation, but without complaint, I tolerate it. And also, what is the strength of the Brahmin? What is the quality that makes the Brahmin different from others? Forgiveness, yes. Forgiveness, thank you. Yes, what's your name? Yes, thank you very much. Forgiveness is the quality. So he called out to Vishvamitra Maharaj, oh Vishvamitra Maharaj, whatever you're doing, I don't agree with it. But I must tolerate. This is my dharma. And I also, for whatever you're doing, I also forgive you. Why is forgiveness the quality of a Brahmin? Because they are not in ignorance. This is why. The spirit of revenge And finding fault with others, thinking that they've made problems with us, comes from ignorance. If in your life someone comes and makes a problem for you, they are not responsible for that. You are responsible. Because whatever happens to us is the karma that we have created by our own activities in this life or in previous lives. And other people, they don't give us problems. They only deliver the problems that we made for ourselves. Special delivery. Your problem, sir. Just sign here. So an ignorant person, they become angry when others disturb them. And they have a spirit of vengeance towards them. And they bear grudges. Why? Because they don't understand that the entire universe is a perfect symphony. And that symphony is orchestrated by the Supreme Lord. There is not one note out of tune. And everyone is playing their part perfectly. Om Purnam Mada Punamidam Purnat Punam Udachyate Purnasya Punamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. The Supreme Lord is perfect. And whatever He creates, whatever manifests from Him is also perfect. And because this world is the creation of the Supreme Lord, this world is perfect. And if we're seeing imperfection anywhere, that is the defect of our eyes, not a defect of God or His creation. That defect is our ignorance. So Vishishta Rishi, he's not in ignorance. So he knows, actually, there's nothing to forgive. We have to always, in every situation, take the blame on ourselves. I am in this situation, I'm in this environment because of my own past karma. So I always say, take the blame, chant the name, taste the Prem. This is the formula of life. First come out of ignorance by taking the blame on yourself for everything. Then you have no one to contend with, no one to compete with, no one to fight with. No conflict with anyone. You come into a state of peace with God. You know the word atonement. It actually comes from at one meant. Become at one with God and His creation. Don't be an element which is making waves here. More waves of karma in the material world. So Vashishta Rishi has a very high consciousness, and he said, "Oh, Vishvamitra Maharaj, I forgive you, and I tolerate everything." And he told his cow, "Oh Shabala, you did not make an offense, and I am not abandoning you, but this is my dharma." So then suddenly Sabala, she broke free from the grip of the king, and she came running back towards the ashram with tears in her eyes. And she said, "Oh Maharaj, I know that you will not use physical force because you're a Brahmin. But all the Vedas say that the sages have spiritual power. And that this spiritual power is more powerful than physical material power of the Kshatriyas, their weapons, their armies, their political institutions. It's more powerful. So if you'll just order me to stay here, then he will not be able to take me away." Why? In Vedanta Sutra, it is said that when a person becomes perfect in spiritual life, they acquire a quality called Satya Sankalpa. Satya, that means anything that they decide or anything that they speak, it must come true. So Vishishta Muni, he told his cow Sabala, "Tishta, stay, don't move." And when Vishvamitra Maharaj and the soldiers tried to grab her away, suddenly she mooed again. Woo! And thousands of powerful warriors came from her mouth. Thousands of powerful warriors came from her udders. Thousands of powerful warriors came from her rear end, even, where the pure cow dung comes from. And all these warriors jumped out at once and began to attack the vast armies of the Vishvamitra Maharaj. Vishvamitra Maharaj took his weapons and began shooting, but nothing was happening. In a few moments, all of his soldiers were destroyed. And Vishvamitra Maharaj, he had 100 sons. And the 100 sons, they also attacked. And they surrounded the Vashishta Rishi. And they were all about to fire their weapons at him. But he was just there and he was chanting the holy names. And it was not that his power burnt them, but they were all burned to ashes by their offense, except for one. He left only one was left alive. So then, Vishvamitra Maharaj, seeing that all of his armies had been devastated, all of his sons except for one had been burnt to ash, he was crestfallen. His effulgence became dim. And he became depressed. He thought, oh, I had no power to even take this cow. And the Shabala, she stayed there in the ashram. So then Vishvamitra Maharaj, he went away. And he went back to his kingdom, and his one son that was alive, he put him on the throne. He said, you become the king. I'm going to the forest. You can rule in my place for now. I'm going to the forest to do tapasya, hard austerities, to get more. I need more power. I don't have enough power. I'm going to get some more. So he went to the forest, and then he was performing austerities. For many years, he was worshipping Lord Shiva. And after some time, Lord Shiva, his Ashutosh, is easily pleased. Lord Shiva appeared before Vishvamitra Maharaj. And he said, I am satisfied by your austerities. You can request from me whatever you want. Then Vishvamitra Maharaj, he prayed, Oh Mahadev, Yogi Yogi Mahayogi, Shiva Shambhu, please bless me with all knowledge of military science. And even though I have some weapons of lower devatas, please bless me with the weapons of Agni, the fire god, Vayudev, the wind god, Varuna Dev, the water god. Bless me with the weapons, the Brahmastra of Lord Brahma, the Pataputastra of yourself, your own powerful weapons, all the most powerful weapons of the universe. So then Lord Shiva smiled and he said, Tatastu. And by his blessing, suddenly all the military science and the tactics and martial arts knowledge appeared in the mind of the Vishvamitra Maharaj. And all the celestial weapons of the various demigods surrounded him. And then he thought to himself, now that Muni, Vashishta Rishi, is as good as dead. Because now I've become the most powerful person in the universe. So then again, that Vishvamitra Maharaj, he set off with all of his weapons and with more warriors again, and he came to the ashram. And he tried to steal the sabala, the cow. So at that time, the Vishwa, he began to shoot his arrows and he set fire to the ashram. And that beautiful place, which was full of trees and creepers and singing birds, everything was incinerated. And all the rishis who were living there, they were running around like refugees in fear for their life. So seeing this great disturbance that was going on everywhere, Vashishta Rishi came out from his ashram and he said, "Hey, Vishvamitra Maharaj, I am here. Now show me your power." And he came out holding his danda. He had a staff, a stick. So then the Vishvamitra Maharaj, he began to fire his Agni weapon, the weapon of the fire god. And the Vashishta Rishi just held up his staff, and the full power of the god of fire entered into his, it was absorbed into his staff. Then he fired his Varuna weapon. He fired the Indra's weapon, the Vajra, thunderbolt. He fired the Brahmastra and the Patuputastra, all the most powerful weapons in the universe. And Vashishta Rishi was just standing there and just absorbing them into his danda, into his staff, until Vishvamitra Maharaj became completely bereft of any energy or power. He lost all of his power, and Vashishta Rishi was standing there, and he'd become so powerful. This is the nature. If there's a great personality and you try to do something against them, actually it will ricochet back upon you with 10 times more force. And that person doesn't become weakened, they become more powerful. So now Vashishta Rishi was standing there, and he was so powerful, there was fire coming from every pore of his skin. And he was shining like the sun. And all the demigods in heaven, and the Gandharvas, Siddhas, and Charnas, all the angels, they all prayed, "Oh Maharaj, please, be peaceful, be peaceful. The whole universe is being disturbed by your power." And then Vashishta Rishi became calm, and the fire went back inside his body. And he said to that Vishvamitra Maharaj, "Now go, leave this place, and don't be so foolish again in future." So then Vishvamitra Maharaj, again he left. He was thinking, I thought that worldly power was great, but now I realize the real power is spiritual power. So he said, "Dig balam, Katriya balam, Brahma Tejo balam balam." It means fire on my strength. Oh, condemned is the power of the Kshatriyas, the warriors, the political class. It's useless. Why? Brahma Tejo balam balam. The strength of all strength is spiritual power. Brahma Tejo balam balam. So this spiritual power comes to us when we receive Harinam and we receive Diksha from Sadguru, a qualified Guru, and we begin to serve under their guidance. Then such a spiritual power comes that not only is the darkness of the Ahankara, the ego, removed from the soul, not only does the soul develop his spiritual vision, but the bhakti that comes by engaging in the service of Gurudev and hearing, chanting and remembering. The devotion that manifests in the heart is so powerful that even Krishna himself, he becomes under the control of the love of that devotee. Is there any more power than that? God is Parameshwara. He's the supreme controller of all existence. But that God becomes the servant of his pure devotee. That's his wonderful quality. Don't think that God is like some tyrant or dictator sitting on a throne, forcing everyone to be a slave. The spiritual realm is the realm of pure love. And Supreme Lord has said, "Yayatamam prapadyante tangsataiva bhajamyaham. Mama vatmanu vartante manusyapartha sarvasha." As they surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. So the degree to which we surrender and the mood in which we serve Sri Krishna reciprocates and serves us back in reciprocation with that mood. So bhakti, that is really the greatest strength. So first, we practice sadhana bhakti. That means it is initiated from the platform of our senses. We tell our tongue, chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We tell our ears, oh, sit down here and listen to Harikatha. We tell our mind, now remember the glorious name, form, and qualities of Sri Krishna. We engage our hands in cleaning the temple, in the cooking, preparing prasadam to offer to Krishna, in playing mridanga, in singing and dancing, all the various activities of devotional service. This is the stage of sadhana. But the power of sadhana, kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sa sadhana bheda, nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam vriddhi sadhyata. The power of this sadhana is, the potential of it is that the nitya siddha bhav, that is an eternally perfect mood of love. Oh, like the love of the associates of Krishna in the spiritual world, makes its appearance in our own heart. And then that is called bhav. And when that bhav becomes more intense and more imbued with mamata, samyan masrinitas swanto mamata tishayankitaha. When it becomes imbued with mamata possessiveness, oh Krishna, you are mine, you are mine. Then that bhav turns into prem, pure love. So we should not waste our life engaging in mundane, fruitive karma. There's no the gain from this. And even the material gains that come, they dissolved by time. Everything is lost. But Krishna said, Neha bikramanasosti pratyavayana vidyate. That on this path of bhakti, there is no loss, there is no diminution. That every act of devotion you do is a credit in your account forever, and it grows and grows and grows. And Krishna is kritagya. He is very grateful. And after some time, Krishna will reciprocate with us, and we can realize that. So try to make a vow, a vrat. Every day before we remember our Gayatri mantras, we do achaman. Why? The sipping of water 3 times is the ritual which is done before making a vow. Swaha, I give my soul to you, Krishna, forever. So if we make a vow like this every day, 3 times a day, and chant the holy names, then in a very short time, in only 1 or 2 or 3 lifetimes, then this prem, this love, divine love that controls the Supreme Lord, will appear in our hearts. I want to say a few words about Prem. Prem. Love. It's everyone's favorite word. When we hear the word love, then everyone feels light and some joy. But what is love? In this world, there is no pure love. Everything is transactional. Because if the person you love does not fulfill in the desires that you have, then you fall out of love with them. So this is actually lust. Krishna Atmendriya prativansha taribali kam. Krishnendriya prati icha dare prema nam. The desire to please your own senses or engage someone else in pleasing your senses. This is called kam. It is lust. It is only the mode of passion. Moha, a state of bewilderment. But Krishnendriya priti icha dari premanam, the desire to give pleasure to the transcendental senses of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, that's called prem, love. And it is the pinnacle, it is the greatest of all achievements. If you're ambitious, have an ambition to attain this. Once, Narad Muni, he was thinking about prem, about love. In India, there's a saying, Dayaksha ke jane wala sabse bade pandit hai. The best scholar, the best pandit is that person Not the person who has memorized all the Vedas, but that person who knows only 2.5 letters. If you write in Devanagari, Prem, 2.5 letters. The person who knows love, he's the most learned person. So Narad Rishi, he was thinking, and he exclaimed, he was playing his veena and singing. He exclaimed, Ridha siddhi brajabrajayita satya dharmo samadhi brahmanando guruopi chamat karayateva tavat yavat premnam madurupuvasi kara siddaushadhinam gandopyanta karanasarani pantatam na prayati. He said, in this world, there are many things that people find amazing. Ridha siddhi. There are mature perfections which are astonishing to the general people of the world. Like what? Brajabrajayata satya dharma samadhi. Satya dharma. If someone sees a Brahmin and he has all Brahminical qualities, he's calm, patient, peaceful, learned in the Vedas, expert in the performance of all rituals and sacrifices. And it's for sure that in his next life, by doing the karma kanda yagyas, he'll go to the heaven. When people see such a person, they're amazed. But the yogis, satya dharma samadhi, they don't care for this. The yogis think, I want samadhi, to go into trance. And in my savikalpa samadhi, then I will attain the yoga siddhi's mystic powers. I can meditate on the element of air, and then my body will be transformed into that quality, and I'll be able to levitate and fly through the sky. Then everyone will say, oh, you are a great yogi. Everyone will give me respect and honor me. I'll be famous. The yogis, they have the desire, mystic powers. I'll be able to control the minds of others. I'll be able to become smaller than an atom and walk through walls. All of these different types of powers, they come from the practice of the yoga sadhana. So such persons, they don't care for any worldly, any position of like a Brahmin in society. They want to become a great mystic and do miracles. But the Jnanis, samadhi, pramanando, gurupi chamatkara, karyateva javat. The Jnanis, they think, what's the use of these mystic powers of yoga? Because you do austerity and you build some power, but then when you use the powers, they go down. It's like your gas tank. If you can fill your car, but if you drive it around, you'll find that the gas tank is empty again. So the yoga is like that. After some time, you lose the powers, and again, you have to do some austerity. So what's the use of that? So then the Jnanis, they want, that means those who are interested in liberation. They think, oh, I want to meditate on Brahman, the light of Brahman, and get mukti, nirvana, moksha, liberation. Aham brahmasmi, I am the spirit. I am the empty light, eternal and one and unchanging. It's like a spiritual suicide, actually. To lose all individual identity and have no activity and no variety at all. It's the negation of the negative varieties of the material world, but there's no positive spiritual gain. It's just like going from your bank account to being in debt to being exactly having nothing. Nothing positive is gained by this type of impersonal liberation. So Narada Muni, he's saying that in this world, people think that the Brahminical powers are wonderful, that the yogic powers are wonderful, that liberation is wonderful. But if a person will just have a slight smell of Prem, of love, then they think all of these things are useless. So how beautiful is love? Siddha Aushadina, he's saying that Prem, love for Krishna, is like a Siddha Aushadi. That means a magical herb. The Vedas say there are three things that may have some mystic powers. Mantra, money, and Aushadi. There are some jewels which have mystic powers. There are mantras, of course, have mystic powers. And Aushadi, herbs. We see that when in the battle for Lanka, then Lakshman was shot by Meghanad and he was unconscious, as if dead. But Hanuman came and he bought the Sanjeevani Bhuti from the Gandhamadana mountain. And when the doctor held those herbs beneath the nose of Lakshman, just by a slight sniff, and he came back to life again. So Narad Muni, he's saying that Prem is like a mystical herb, and if you get one sniff of this love, then you'll forget about mystic powers, worldly achievements, and even nirvana and liberation. Everything will be insignificant. So, Gandopyanta Karana Sharani Pantatam na Prayati. As Narad Muni is saying, as long as the fragrance of the perfect herb of love has not become a traveler on the path of the psyche, you don't have the slightest smell of what that Prem is like, then you can be attracted to other things of this world and beyond this world. But if one will have a slight sniff of Prem, he will forget everything. Why? Because not only does this herb make you forget all other achievements, but the slight sniff of this herb controls Krishna himself. Just as when a lotus flower opens and the fragrance comes out, then when the bumblebee catches that fragrance, he flies there and comes to taste the nectar of the lotus flower. So in the same way, if the fragrance of Prem, love, is emanating from our heart, then one very excited black bumblebee, that is a Radharaman Lala ki jai, Krishna himself will come to taste the nectar of your love. So love is a wonderful thing. Krishna cannot be satisfied by anything else. See, Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. That Tadasya Bhaktuparitam Ashnami Prayatatmanaha. If someone will offer me with love, with bhakti, a fruit, a flower, a leaf, or just some water, I will accept it. So this is Krishna's nature. He's not asking for a lot. In this world, it's very difficult to please someone, right? Who's married? Can you always please your spouse? It's a challenge. In fact, it's impossible. But Krishna is very easy to please. He just wants the love. You know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was living in Jagannath Puri, performing his pastimes as a sannyasi, at that time, quite far away in the Panihati, there lived a great devotee. His name was Raghav Pandit, and he had a sister. His sister's name was Damayanti. And though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, the Supreme Lord, he's all-powerful, he's self-satisfied, and he's not like an ordinary human being who can get sick or have some stomach problems or anything. But still, out of love, she used to think of him. She had Manushya Buddhi. She used to think of him as if he's her own family member. Natural, swabhavik Prem. Lokik Sadbandhu Bat Sambandha. She has a natural love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as if he were her own family member. And so, even though she could not go to Jagannath Puri, she was 1 month away. But she knew that her brother was going to see him. And so she would cook some preparations, but not the fresh things. She would make rice and dal and those things because it will take a month to carry them there. It will be rotten by the time they arrive. So she was cooking so many imperishable things. She would make some bowls of the dried, powdered, bitter vegetables. Because in Jagannath Puri, there's Jagannath Mahaprasad and it's quite rich. So she's thinking he'll probably get indigestion. So let me make this digestive aid for him with some bitter vegetables and some ginger. If he'll take it every day before his meal, then he'll be very healthy. So with great love, she was making so many imperishables like chutneys, different types of achar, different types of sweet balls and digestive aids. She made lots and lots of them because she knew my brother only goes to visit him once a year. So I have to make him all these preparations that will last for the whole year. And then after a year, he'll run out, then I'll cook some more and I'll send some more. So with great love, for days, she was collecting all the ingredients and making all the preparations. And she was rolling them and putting them in small clay pots and then wrapping them in cloth and then putting them in small bags and then putting the small bags in a big bag. And when her brother was about to set off for Jagannath Puri, she gave him the big bag. And said, protect this with your life. And with great honor, he took all of those preparations and set off, traveling for 1 month, and he presented them to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very far away, and even though every day he would take delicious preparations of Mahaprasad, Jagannath Mahaprasad, but every day he would tell his servant, oh, Govinda, you bring some of those things from the bag. It was called Raghavera Jali. Raghavera Jali means the bag of goodies from Raghava Pandit's sister. And he would not take a meal unless his servant Govinda had come and bought some preparations. So usually a person, they like sweets, but even taking the bitter sukta, the bitter digestive aids that were made with love by Damayanti, then Mahaprabhu, tears would come in his eyes. His heart was melting and he experienced it that it was more delicious than any of the other preparations. Why? Because that's the nature of Krishna. Krishna is not concerned with exactly what you are giving, but the mood, the bhav with which you give it. It is said, Murko vadati Vishnaya, Dhiro vadati Vishnave, Ubaya tu samam punyam, bhava grahi janardana. The meaning is, if there's a person who's a murka, illiterate, they don't know Sanskrit and they don't know how to do pujas, when they make an offering to Vishnu, they say, Om Vishnaya Namaha. Because they're thinking, when you offer to Krishna, you say, Krishnaya Namaha. When you offer to Narayan, you say, Narayanaya Namaha. So when you offer to Vishnu, then Vishnaya. But this is incorrect Sanskrit grammar. You don't say Vishnaya. That's not proper grammar. The grammar to Vishnu is Vishnave. Like you can say Chaitanyaya to offer to Chaitanya, but you cannot say Guraya to Guru. Gurave. So, Murko Vadani Vishnaya, a foolish person, when they make the offering, they say the Sanskrit mantra incorrectly. Dhiro Vadati Vishnave, and an educated person says it correctly. But what we should understand is this. Ubayatu samam punyam. Both persons, they get the same benefit. Why? Bhava grahi janardana. Because Krishna Janardan, he is a bhava grahi. He only accepts our mood. He accepts the feeling with which we make the offering. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's quoting one verse of the Kiratarjuniya. There's a famous classical poem in India called Kiratarjuniya by Bhairavi. So there he has written one poem. He says, Priyena Sangratya Vipaksha Sanidav Upahitam Vakshasi Pivaristani Shrajam Nakaschid Vijahu Jalavilam Basanti Premni Gunana Vastuni. The meaning is this: there was one young man who was in love, and he had a very beloved heroine, but there were some other ladies who were also in love with him that were her rivals. So one day he made a garland himself. He picked all of the flowers and he spent a long time threading them all together in a beautiful sequence and made a beautiful garland. But however, on the way, when he was going to meet with his beloved, it became wet and the flowers became somewhat damaged by the water. So the garland didn't look so nice, actually. But when he arrived there and he saw her, her rivals were also there. So usually you shouldn't give anything imperfect, because the rivals, they may snigger and they'll say, he gave her this useless garland. But anyway, he came and he gave the garland to his beloved in front of her rivals. And she didn't reject it. She accepted it. Why? It wasn't a prestigious garland. The garland really did not do anything for her status. But she accepted the garland. Why? Vasantihi premni gunana vastuni. The moral of the story is that the quality of an offering, the guna, that means the virtues of an offering, na vastuni, do not lie in the substance which is offered, but rather vasantihi premni. The virtues of an offering consist in the love with which the offering is made. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's quoting this verse to teach us this thing about the nature of love. Another aspect of the nature of love is that it's completely devoid of pride. If you do some service, let's say you do some service from morning to night, for weeks and weeks, and now it's complete, and in the end you feel like, yes, I've done a great service. Everyone, look at the service that I've done. Did you see? Quick, take some photos, post it on Instagram. That is not bhakti. Whatever is done with pride is a karma. Because pride is the function of ego. And the ego means kartritva abhiman. I am the doer. So whatever is done with pride, that is not bhakti. When a person renders pure devotional service, they never think, oh, I have done a great thing. They think that it's a miracle, that by the mercy of Guru and by the mercy of Krishna, such a wonderful thing, I became an instrument for that to manifest, but I didn't do it. I cannot take the credit. I am not responsible. It could have failed in so many millions of ways, but it didn't. Why? Only the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So in pure bhakti, there's no pride. Sri Balabhacharya, he has, in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, he has said, Nahi sadhana sampatya hari tushati karmavat bhakthanam dainyam evaikam hari tushtati sadhanam. Hari tushati sadhanam. The meaning is this, that Hari, Krishna himself, he is not satisfied by a mere abundance of service, by the amount of service. As if Devotional service is a karma. You know, when you're doing karma in this world, then the amount is very much. It's very important. The amount that you do is important. If you're working on a building site and you're building, and in one day you only lay 3 bricks, then you'll probably get fired. Yeah? But if in one day you build a whole 2 or 3 walls, then you might get promoted. So when you're doing karma, the worldly activities, the actual amount that you do is very important. But bhakti isn't like that. Bhakti doesn't depend on the amount. So nahi sadhana sampatya. Hari tushati sadhanam. But what actually pleases Krishna? Bhaktanam dainyamaivaikam. It's the humility of the devotee. When the devotee gives up pride and gives up ego and considers any opportunity to engage in hearing, chanting, remembering, or serving in the mission of Guru is a blessing and a causeless mercy descending from above. And I don't even deserve it. But how kind the Lord is that this opportunity came to me. So when the devotee serves with humility, then Krishna becomes satisfied. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he used to cry. Prem dana bina byartha daridra jivan dasa kori vetan mari deho premadan. Alas, alas, I am a beggar. I am a poverty-stricken beggar. I am destitute. Why? I have no wealth. Because the only wealth is Prem Dan, the treasure of love for Krishna. And I don't have even a single drop. Krishna, please accept me as your servant. And pay me the salary of only Prem. So Premara Swabhava Jahan, Premara Sambandha. Say mani Krishna Moyi Nahi Premaganda. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, wherever there's a real relationship of love, the person who has the love feels as if I have no love at all. So if as we engage in devotional service, we think, I am senior, and now I'm more senior than I was before, and now I'm most senior. We think that we're becoming greater and greater. This is not progress. This is the devolution. When pure bhakti is a kind of, it's an energy, but in one sense, it's a kind of negative. It's a type of void, a feeling of emptiness. The love brings a feeling of insignificance because Krishna is the positive pole of existence. And when a person feels I have no qualities, I am completely unqualified, then he becomes the negative pole, and the positive pole and negative pole are attracted to each other. If you try to assert yourself as the positive pole, then what happens? 2 positive poles will repel each other. And so it becomes impossible to approach God. In fact, Krishna himself has said this. Sri Krishna said, Ahankara nivrittanam Keshavo nahi duraga Ahankara yutanam hi madhye pavatarashaya. Though if a person has given up the ahankar, false ego, then Keshav, Krishna, is not very far away. They'll realize Krishna is right there with them. But if a person has ahankar, false ego, pride, then there are mountain ranges between himself and the Supreme Lord. Impassable mountain range like the Himalayas. God is very far away. So love is like this. Even Shrimati Radharani herself, she said, Na prema gandosti durapa meharo Krandami sobhagyaparam prakashitam Bangsi vilasanana lokanam vina Vibhami tat prana patanga kambrita. Radhika was crying and her Sakhis were trying to console her. I said, oh, I have no love for Krishna. I don't even know what is the smell of love from far away. That is why Krishna has left and gone to Mathura. The Sakhi said, but you are crying all the time. I said, no, this is only for show. Really, I don't have love. I know that a fish has love for water, because if you take the fish out of the water, then they just flap around for a few moments in great anxiety and then they give up their life. But look at me. See, Krishna has left me. I'm not seeing the beautiful smiling face of Krishna playing upon his flute, but still I stay alive, living for no reason like an insect. Or I keep my pran with me and my pran is biting me like an insect. Prana patangatam. Brita. So akai tava Krishna prem Jaino Jambu Nadahe Se Prema Niloke Nahoy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, remembering this astonishing love of Radharani for Krishna, he says, he's speaking in the mood of Radhika and saying, love which has no selfishness, which has no duplicity in it, is like the Jambu Nadahem, gold from the Jambu river. It's not available in this world. There's a type of a gold, Jambu Nadahem. It's only available in the higher planets. It's not available here on Earth. So if you meet a jeweler and he wants to sell you some gold, and he tells you this is Jambu Nadahem, he's lying, because this gold is not available here. So Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Radhika, he's saying the same thing, that this spontaneous pure love is not a material phenomena. It's not available anywhere in this world. It is aprakrita, it is supernatural, and therefore there's nothing that we can do to get it. But rather, when we do Sharanagati, surrender, with body, mind and words fully in the service of the spiritual master, then through the Guru Parampara, from Radha Krishna, from Mahaprabhu, and through our Guru Parampara, then this Chidbal, this spiritual power of love descends to us, and then it can be realized. Pray, pray. Those who have Prem, they are completely surrendered. And those who have more Prem, even they're not surrendered sometimes. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has said, don't misunderstand this, but he has said that Agya palane Krishna yaechi paritosh Preme agya bangale hoye koti sukaposh. The meaning is this: Agya palane Krishna yaechi paritosh. Just as Sri Krishna is satisfied when we follow his instructions. Agya palane means to observe the order. When we follow the order of Krishna, then Krishna is satisfied. But premi agya bangale hoi koti sukaposh. But if a person's love is so strong that they disobey Krishna out of love, then Krishna gets 10 million times more happiness than if you obey him. This is not, don't take this as a license to misbehave. This is what I'm speaking about, something which is not on our level, something beyond that. Just like, you know that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying in Puri, every year the residents of Navadvip would come to visit him there. And Nityananda Prabhu used to come. But one year Mahaprabhu said to Nityananda Prabhu, "Oh Nitai, don't come next year. I want you to travel all around East Bengal there, doing Sankirtan and spreading love of God there. This is your mission, so don't come next year." Next year, when all the devotees came, there's Nityananda. So what is he doing? He cannot check himself. His love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, he just sits there saying, "Muhita, Muhita, I am his, I am his. I belong to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." This is why we take shelter of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu is Akhanda Guru Tattva, is the original Guru. And by his own example, he teaches us how to have the unbreakable, unconditional, spontaneous love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. who himself is the combined form of Radha Krishna. Gaurangera Rasanave Jaitaranga Jebadube. Say Radha Madhavantaranga. If someone will sink into the ocean of love for Gauranga, what will happen? Oh, he'll... If you dip into the Ganges at Nidai Ghat, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu jumped into the Ganges to leave Navadvip, then when you come out of the water, you'll see you're in Keshi Ghat in Vrindavan. And you have a beautiful Manjari Swarupa, a gopi of Vrindavan, and serve Radha and Krishna. Those who have love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, automatically they attain the service of Mahaprabhu in the form of Radha and Krishna. So Nityananda Prabhu is the Akhanda Guru Tattva, he's the original Guru Tattva, and he's the embodiment of that love that we want for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even though Mahaprabhu told him, go and do this, but he broke the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, it was more pleasing for Mahaprabhu by 10 million times, because he didn't do it out of insubordination. He didn't do it because his mind and senses were not in control. He didn't do it out of arrogance or independence. He did it because he could not do it, because his flow of love was unstoppable. So this is the example. Agya palane Krishna yaichi paritosh. Premi agya bangile hoy koti sukaposh. We can give another example of our Param Gurudev. That means my Guru's Guru. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami. He's also not only my Guru's Guru, but he's also the sannyas Guru of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada took sannyas from Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj in Keshavji Gaudiya Math, 1959. Yeah. So when Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj was a young brahmachari, his name was Vinod Bihari Das Brahmachari. And he was staying there in the Chaitanya Mat and serving Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. And one day, a letter came from his village. And the letter said, oh, your mother is very sick and she's about to leave this world. Please come and see your mother before she leaves this world. So Vinod Bihari, he didn't go. He was just going on with his service. So this news came to the ears of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. And Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he told, oh Vinod Brahmachari, your mother is very ill, you know. She's about to pass away. So you should go and visit her and see her before she leaves. Go back to your village and see her before she leaves. Okay, go. His guru told him, go back to your village, visit your mother. So then Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, he made like he was leaving, and then he did a U-turn, and he came and he hid and locked himself in his room. And he was there for a few days. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur inquired, oh, is Vinod Bihari back from visiting his village? Then someone told him, he didn't go. He's hiding. He said, tell him to come here now. So then some devotees came. Okay. Oh, Vinod Bihari, Gurudev's calling you. Come on. And then he came and he gave pranam to his spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada said, I told you to go and visit your mother in your village. Why did you disobey me? Why didn't you go? He said, oh Gurudev, if I had gone there and in the last moment of her life, my mother had said to me, oh my son, his family, they were landlords. They had big land holdings. Oh my son, now I will pass away. So I want you to take over responsibility for managing the land. If she'd asked me with her last breath, how could I say no? Because this is a custom in Vedic culture that if someone is dying and they have a last request, you cannot say no. He said, so then she would have asked me and I would have to say yes, and then I would be entangled there managing the estate. And then I would lose your service, Gurudev. Sakale janame mata pita sabe pai. Guru Krishna Nahi mili baja hari hai. It is said in Shastra, in every birth you take, you have a mother and father, in every single life. But that life when you have a guru is very, very rare. And only by serving Guru one can attain the Supreme Lord, which is the goal of our millions and millions of lives. So Vinod Bihari Das Brahmacharya, he quoted this verse to Prabhupada, and tears came in the eyes of Prabhupada. He said, it's all right, yes. You did good. You see? So this is the thing. Prem is so wonderful. There's no independence. There's no selfishness. There's complete surrender. But Prem can also go beyond that, and even breaking the instructions of Guru and the instruction of Krishna sometimes. Not for ordinary persons, but for high level, like Nityananda Prabhu, like our Srila Bhakti Pragan Keshav Maharaj, especially like the gopis of Vrindavan. You know? Since the childhood, they had love for Krishna. But disaster of all disasters, their marriages were arranged to others. But still, they only feel that my life is only for pleasing Krishna. And one night, Sri Krishna went into the forest of Vrindavan at Vangsibhat and played upon his flute, calling all Braj gopis. And whatever they're doing, they dropped everything. If one was putting makeup on her eye, only on one eye, then without finishing the other eye, she just ran there. One gopi was making a chapati on the stove. She ran and burst into flames. Whatever they were doing, they left everything. And they ran into the forest at night and they arrived there on the bank of Jamuna. And they bowed before Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna told them, Swagatam ba mahabhaga priyam kim karavami va brajasanamayam kachit brutagamana. Welcome to the forest of Vrindavan. Why did you come here? Is there some problem in the village? Tell me. Don't hide your feeling. Tell me, why did you come here? The gopis, they cannot believe their ears. We just sacrificed all happiness in this life and future lives by disobeying our family members and leaving in the middle of the night. Just for him. And now he's saying, why did you come here? He was calling us. We didn't call him. Sri Krishna said, Rajani Esha Gaura Rupa Gaura Satna Nisevita Pratiyata Brajam Nehastayam Sribi Sumadhyama. This forest is very dark and dangerous and there are wild animals here. So don't stay here, go back to your village. Krishna told them, return to your homes. Did they return? Maivam biboti bhavan gaditam nrisangsam sanchaja sarva vishayantava padamula bhakta bhajasya durvagramacha jasvan devo yatari purusho bhajate mamuksham yapatya patya suridam anubriti anga Srinam Swadama iti dama vidatra yuktam Astwaitam evam upadesha padetvarishe Prashto babangstatnubritam kilabandhu atman. They quarreled with Krishna. They disobeyed him. They cut all of his words and arguments. Whatever he was saying and whatever he was thinking also, they could understand. They told him, it is not right for you to speak to us such heartbreaking words when we have given up all happiness just to serve you. Sometimes in the autumn season, the clouds are there, but they don't rain. So don't be like a stubborn cloud who doesn't give rain. You should reciprocate with us. We heard that Gargacharya told your father in your name-giving ceremony, Tasman nandatmajo yamte narayana samoganai. You have all qualities like Lord Narayan. So it's the nature of Lord Narayan. Devo yatadi purusho bhajate mamukshun. Lord Narayan fulfills the desires of his devotees. So in the same way, if you have qualities like Lord Narayan, we have only come to serve you and to give happiness to you. You should reciprocate with us. You told us to go home and serve our husbands and follow Dharma. But We know that Shastra says, Pratamantu Gurum Pujam Tatastaiva Mamachanam. First you should serve your guru and then you should serve others. First you should serve Guru and then serve Krishna even. That means Narayan, Bhagavan. So you are giving us instructions in Dharma, so you are like our Guru. So it is our responsibility to serve you first. And we have heard you have qualities like Lord Narayan. So we should serve you. Because in Varnashram Dharma, the service which is done to the family members is actually not to their bodies, but to the Paramatma in the heart. When in Varnashram Dharma, the husband is doing his duties for what? His work is a yagya for Vishnu, and the wife is serving the husband. For what? Because Vishnu Paramatma is in his heart. If the husband will die, then they just take the body to the bank of the river and set his face on fire. Right? So the service is not to the body. Gopis are saying this to Krishna. The service is not to the body, because as soon as Paramatma leaves the body, then Ram Nam Satyahe, funeral ceremony, and you have to set fire to the face. So the service is always to Paramatma. So we've heard, Gargacharya said, you have the qualities, all qualities like Paramatma. So we have come to serve you. That means Krishna preached to them according to Karma Kanda. You have to follow Dharma, perform your karmas in this world. And the gopis replied to Krishna, cutting the arguments of Karma Kanda by Jnana Kanda, by knowledge, the path of knowledge. So Prem has all of these qualities. The service depends on the love, not on the offering, the substance of the offering itself. Prem itself is completely devoid of pride. It is performed in utter humility. And when Prem is very intense, it can even transcend the boundaries of the instructions, even, and gives more happiness to see Krishna. So we come back to the beginning, what we were saying. Narad Muni was saying, if you may think there are many amazing things in this world, but if you get only one sniff of this Prem from far away, you'll forget everything and surrender to Krishna. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai, Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shah Gaur Premanande.